Good afternoon, everyone. Hope all is well. Hope everyone's doing all right. A few people still trying to connect, so let's give them a second and then we'll get rolling. All right, so it looks like everybody's in. So good afternoon once again. Hope everyone's doing all right. Okay, not a problem, not a problem. I will be recording this, so I'll be sending this out to you. By chance you get disconnected, I will be sending it out to the class at some point. So, hopefully you won't, but just in case. So, hopefully everyone's doing all right. Of course, you guys saw at least one of my initial emails. I sent about four because you're here on the Zoom. Whenever I send out an email to the classroom, it will be archiving your campus announcements, Canvas announcements. So let's go to that real quick. Just make sure we know what that is. When you go into Canvas, head announcements right here. And you see those are all the messages I sent up to this point to the class. So, our greetings, class meetings, Zoom information, and then Math Lab access. So we talk about this class and how it's going to operate. One of the main things you have to make sure you solidify is access to Math Lab. And we're going to go to it in a second. But you want to, you've got somebody coming in right now. Okay, so everything we do is going to be foundationally set upon Math Lab. All of our assignments, whether it be homework or tests or whatever, will be generated through Math Lab. So it's impossible to pass the class without access to Math Lab. You don't have to purchase the textbook, but you do have to purchase access to Math Lab. So let's go ahead and look at that registration process real quick. Okay. All right, so here we go. So you go to register now as a student. Click OK. And then it was Tucker. Move this out of the way. 74643. Somebody saying something. Let's see what's in the chat. If you get financial, are you talking about to pay for Math Lab? If you're using financial aid to pay for Math Lab, then you will purchase it. You will use that financial aid and purchase it through TCC's bookstore. Yeah, you will use it to purchase it through TCC's bookstore. You guys are supposed to get like a storm card or something that has your financial aid on it. I see a raised hand.
So I had problems with my financial aid. For some reason, they didn't want to work with me right and told me 3 different things. So my books got canceled for all of my classes. So I'm waiting for the bookstore to get the updated version of my FAFSA. They told me to call back Wednesday and see if it's updated with the bookstore. So I have the free trial, but I don't know for sure if my books hopefully are going to be in within that 2-week period. If I purchase it myself within that 2 weeks, will financial aid pay me back for it?
That part I'm not sure. My initial guess would be no. Because I just know how they work with money. It's like basically you probably have to wait for your refund, and then get your refund, and then that's when you would get your money back. But I don't think they would actually like just initially just reimburse you for that. I just think whenever you guys get a refund, at least, don't you guys still get refund when you have in excess? Do y'all get that?
Yeah, I know with mine, I don't get mine until, I know with spring semester, I didn't get mine until close to the end of February.
Gotcha. And yeah, that's probably when you would get that money back. I don't think they would like give it to you. Like, let's say if you say, okay, I'm gonna pay this right now, and they hope they give you the money back because I need to pay a bill or something. I don't think they'll do you like that. So it would be you paying for it with the idea of, I know I'm not gonna get it until my refund come back, something like that. Yeah. Does somebody else have a question? Was anybody else unmuted? No, everybody good? Everybody good?
Do you require us to have our cameras on for class?
No, no, not mandatory. Whenever, most definitely for our final exam, you will have to have it on because we're doing proctor situation. Or if we were to proctor another test, that's when you would need your camera on. But I would send you directions and tell you when that's needed. But during class time, you can stay unmuted and unvideoed, whatever you want to say, unvideoed, and that's fine.
So I know Wednesdays, so Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays I have work. So Wednesdays I'll be at work while in your class, but I have my wireless headphones so I can still pay attention. I bartend, so it's the day shift, so it's pretty slow during the day.
Okay.
So, I mean, I can still listen in. I just didn't want you, if like I don't answer right away, I don't want you to think that I'm like off in bed asleep or something.
Okay. No, cool. I appreciate it. I appreciate you letting me know. Thank you. Thank you. So when it comes to the registration process, you put in that code that I gave you in that email. And so you see that here's our course right here, Math 155. And we are in the right class, right? 140, 155. Okay, just making sure. Yeah, so 155. And so if you already have created an account with Pearson, then you would go here. If not, you hit create an account, put in all your information. So once you put in that information, then you will be given access. When I given access, you have these three options to choose from. Like your classmate mentioned, purchasing access through TCC, they will give you a 16-digit access code. Or if you were to purchase it from a friend or Amazon, somewhere outside of Pearson, you're going to get a 16-digit access code. So if you have that, then you can go ahead and type that in at that moment. If you don't have that, but you want to purchase it through the website, through Pearson itself, you can just purchase access. They won't give you a code. They would just give you access because you're right there. And then the other option, as your classmate mentioned, the 14-day free pass. If you don't have the money at the moment, but you want to go ahead and get started, or if you just don't feel like paying right now, but you want to go ahead and get started, you can go ahead and put that 14, you click on the 14-day free pass link. And from that moment, you have 14 days to get the code or to get access. If by some chance your 14 days run out, what it will do is lock you out. It will not erase your progress. I will still have access to what you've done. You won't. But once you pay for that access, then they'll give you free full access once again. You can pick up where you left off. Use 14 days. Oh, somebody just asked. Yep, that's what I was saying. Yep. It will save your work. All right. So any questions on the registration process before we go to the next thing? Anybody? Everybody good? Okay. So that's that one. The other email, Math Lab specifics.
Right. Yeah, I don't know about everybody else, but I got like 8 emails altogether to my student email. Well, because it would send me one from like Canvas and then send me like, hey, you got one from Canvas, and it'll show me what was said, and then it would send it directly to my email.
See, I didn't know that it did that. So I didn't, no one's ever, I've been doing this for like.
Yeah, I was like, there's like 8 different ones, and it's all from my math class. Yeah, my boyfriend was like, why is he emailing so much? And I was like, it's because it connects to Canvas.
Tell your boyfriend stop throwing shade.
No, he's not throwing shade. He was just like, he's emailing a lot. He was like, is everything okay with your class? Like, do you still have class? And I was like, yes, it just emails me whenever it's sent through Canvas, and then it automatically directs it to your email too.
Yeah, I'm gonna need your boyfriend to stop throwing rocks at me. He don't know me like that. No, I'm just messing. But
I mean, he is Navy, so that's what they do.
But look, so see, this is a funny thing. I know when I've been doing ever since we went to Canvas like 3-4 years ago, maybe. I didn't know that when I put something in Canvas that it automatically let you guys know that there's something in Canvas. No one ever said that. So I've been sending multiple emails because what I do is I send it to you as an email through SIS. That's how I first sent it out. And then I put it in Canvas as an announcement just to archive it so it'll be there. So you'll have a centralized place where you can go. So just in case you missed the email, you can always go to Canvas announcements and see it there. See, no one has ever said that when I send it in announcements in Canvas that it shoots to you guys automatically.
Hey, I would rather it do that though than not get anything at all, like not get any notifications. I would rather have it come from both directions than neither at all.
Right. So I'm gonna check with Canvas reps and make sure that that's concrete, because I know certain things have been acting real funky with Canvas lately. Like I've been trying to move stuff and design stuff, and it hasn't been taken. So I'm not gonna stop doing it yet. So tell your boyfriend I'm good for right now. No, just messing. But
I'll square up with him. It's okay.
Right. So yeah, but then thanks for letting me know that because I can check on that and make sure what's the process and what actually happens. Cause I just never knew. I just never knew. So okay, cool. So let's look at math lab specifics. So I just want to make sure we're clear on how math lab will be used for us during this session. So as I already mentioned, that you can't pass the class without math lab because all of our homework, all of our tests, everything we do is going to be generated through math lab. Your scores, it'll give you your scores immediately. Math lab will do that. I'm not going to put your grades in Canvas because you already have one place. Once again, I try to make sure things are in a centralized place. So I don't want to be putting grades in Canvas, then putting grades in math lab, and then there's confusion because one place thing don't say the other, whatever. So it's just one place that you see your grades, and that will be in math lab. So in order to have a centralized place also to take attendance, I do look at attendance through Zoom, but it's kind of tough because when people come in late, I don't want to have to interrupt the lecture to try to write down somebody's name, or if I missed it, go look and start scanning through names and see which one did I miss and all the stuff like that. So I take attendance off of Math Lab. And then also I record every session and then I send it out to you guys. So if you sit through the recording live versus sitting through the recording as it's pre-recorded, if you sat through the recording, you sat through the recording, but I can't monitor who sat through the recording later on, but it's still the same session. So I try to be fair with things. So the fairest way I can look at attendance is by through MathLab and just say that your activity will solidify your attendance. So you at least want to go into MathLab weekly, even if you weren't able to get some work done like you wanted to, at least go into a homework assignment, go in, hit save and come out. So I can have a timestamp on your activity. And that way, that's the fairest way to make sure everybody's getting accounted for being active and being in attendance. So your activity will be solidified through MathLab. If you're having any issues with MathLab or anything or attendance period, make sure you communicate that with me. So if any accommodations need to be made, we can do so accordingly. You have unlimited amount of tries to get the best grade possible on your homeworks, unlimited. So when I look at my grading, 75 to 84.9 will be a 90% in my grade book. But if you want full 100%, you want to at least shoot for an 85. So notice I didn't mention anything less than a 75 because with unlimited attempts, there's no such thing as unlimited amount of problems. So truth be told, if you want to finesse the system, you really could keep clicking on a problem until the problem came back that you got wrong, but they gave you the answer to and all the stuff like that. So yeah, you should at least be able to get a 75. So just throwing it out there. That's why we're looking at 75 as the marker. Either way, 75 or 85 is still an A. It's just that 85 or better will get you to full 100%. All right. Test reviews are not mandatory, but if you score 85 or higher on it, then I'll add 5 points to that respective test. Tests that are not proctored. In other words, you can just do them at your leisure. Like the first test most definitely will be one of those. You get 2 attempts to get the best grade possible on those. Yep, take the best grade out of that, and then email me copy of any scratch work. No, that's just a general statement that I put on all of my math lab specifics emails. This class, you may not have much scratch work, especially when we get into finding certain things, and I'll say hey, you can use this app or website or calculator. That's more so like for my pre-calc classes, my calculus classes. They really have work to show me. So that's just a general statement. But if you have work, shoot it to me. But if you don't have much work for the nature of this class, it was not out of the realm of possibility. All right. Before we leave this math lab specifics page, any questions? All right, see something in chat. What's happening next Monday? Is it Memorial Day? One of those days. So, let's see. Memorial Day? Probably not. I think that is a holiday. Let me check to make sure. I either tell you about Wednesday or shoot you an email. I think we are off. Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem. All right. Any other questions on this before we go to the next thing? Everybody good? All right. I think that's good for our. Yeah. So let's go to Math Lab itself. Show you what we have going on. All right. So we have 155. All right. So here we have our homework assignments. Let's see, yep. Okay, chapters 1, chapters 2 are basically definition based, and we're going to come back to that in a second. And I did put a test review here for chapter 1 and chapter 2, so that's good. And well, basically they're definitions and charts. And so you see homework assignments, test 1 review, and then test 1s. All right, got a hand raised.
Will the due dates change?
I'm
Because I
gonna get
know
to that
they
in a
all
second.
say, okay, I
I'm
was
gonna
gonna
get
say,
to
I know
that.
they all say
Mhm.
August 5th.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that in a second. Yep. So just showing you the nature of how everything will be set up. It'll always be your homework, like a block of homework. It will be test 1, chapter 1, chapter 2. That's going to be on your first test. You see your test review, then test 1. Next one will be chapter 3, chapter 4. Then you see test review. I haven't posted that second test. I hadn't decided if it's going to be proctored or not, but we'll see. But then you have your test right here. Same thing, 5, 6, 7, 8. We may get past 8. I know last session we didn't get past chapter 8. We'll see. We'll see. But if not, if we do, great. Then we got chapter 9, chapter 10. But I know for a fact we'll at least get to chapter 8. So if we get to chapter 8, this final exam review will be for 1 through 8. If not, I'll have to change it up a little bit. But we'll see. We'll see. No rush either way for me. So classmate mentioned due dates. Notice all of them say 8/5. That is the date in SIS. That's a Friday. That is a hard due date. What I normally do with my statistics class is that I put a hard due date out there and then just say that you have until that day to get everything in. It leaves room for life to happen and you don't have to ask me for an extension. And I don't have a problem with that. Now, if you are a professional procrastinator, though, then you do want to make sure you stay on top of things. And the way you can gauge yourself is about where we are in the lecture. I'm not going to hold you accountable for anything that we have not covered. So if let's say something crazy happened and all we get to is chapter 4, then all I'm going to hold you accountable for is chapters 1 through 4. So, before we leave here today, I'm gonna tell you what we want to do as far as chapter 1, chapter 2 is concerned. But let's say by next week we're at chapter 3, we're knocking out chapter 3, then that's where you need to pick up the pace in order to get to your home, get your homework completed and get to where we are in the lecture. So that's how you can gauge yourself if you ever want to know if you're too far behind or whatever. Also, what I'm going to do is send you guys a copy of the pre-recorded sessions of last semester. So if anybody want to move ahead, you will have that luxury. And you want to look at the videos for earlier class or earlier sections that we haven't gotten to, or later sections that we haven't gotten to, you will have that lecture available to you. So you can move ahead and even if you get so far ahead and you say, hey, Mr. Tucker, is it possible I can take my final exam early? Then it's all about communication and conversation and seeing if we can match up schedules. I don't mind doing things like that. Sorry about that. Okay, yeah. But yeah. So so that due date is legit. I'm not going to change it. So that means if you do get behind, you will have the ability to get your stuff made up. Don't forget, we only have 10 weeks. Also, remember that means that these things are going to be coming to you fast, especially once we get rolling in calculation, talking about chapter 3 and 4. If you look at chapter 3, I thought it was 4 sections here. I got to check the third one, I'm thinking about 245. We're in here, they split it up. Anyway, these sections aren't that long. We have 5 sections here. And then notice we have 4 sections here, but these sections aren't really that long. And I'm going to try to pace this stuff out so it's not like I'm throwing a whole bunch at you at one time. But I easily could do all of chapter 3 in one day because we have this long session and it's the summer and they put in 2 days in one, that type of thing. So I'm going to try not to do that to you, but there will be times when we, it's the summer. And so just make sure you stay on top of the stuff and you don't get too far behind because you don't want to put yourself in a situation of distress where you don't have to. So now chapters 1, chapters 2 will be based on definitions. So you have chapter 1, chapter 2 homework, but then we also have these here that you guys are held accountable for. So I don't really do full lectures on chapters 1 and chapters 2 because of the natures of those sections. They're really just definitions. So instead of me, writing down definitions and then you copying them and you falling asleep and I'm falling asleep, chapter 1 and chapter 2 right here. Chapter 1 is 2 pages, so make sure you notate that. Sometimes people only see the first page. And then chapter 2 is right here. Come on. And chapter 2 is 2 pages, only two questions on the second one, but 2 pages as well. Okay, so that's going to be your first assignment. We'll talk about due date for this in a second, but chapter 1, chapter 2 definitions are right here, and you can download it. I see Miss Alexis, give me 1 second, and you can download it right here if you want. And so the way you can submit that to me, you can either write them down, put them in a notebook or whatever, take a picture of it, email it to me, or if you want to download it and then type them up. It's up to you how you want to send them to me, and send them to me in a Word document. Miss Alexis.
Okay, so I spaced out for a second. Were you saying that like we are going over these in class and we'll have like you'll give us the answers to it, or that we have to like Google it basically?
Nope, haven't got to that part yet. So right down here, remember we mentioned that you don't have to, well, in one of the emails I mentioned, you don't have to purchase a book, but you do have to purchase access to MathLab. That's because right here is your e-text. So this was not made to be a hard assignment. It was not made to be a scavenger hunt. If you look at this, chapter 1, we got statistics, variation, data, variables. Everything's in order. If I go to chapter contents, I could either click on e-text or hit chapter contents, chapter 1, section 1.1. Hit this e-text right here. Either way, you can get to the same spot. And it's the exact copy of the hard copy of the book. Just waiting for it to pull up. And so everything's in order. So you see variation, data, and everything's highlighted. I'm trying to look for one. Might be the next page.
Do we have to put it in our own words?
No.
And just copy and paste? Okay, I didn't know if it was like, I don't remember what it's called, but like you can get in trouble for doing the copy and
plagiarism.
Paste. Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm not doing y'all like that. It's not English class, but so you're good to go. So no, I expect you to go ahead and get it from the book, because really it's just an exercise to familiarize you guys with these terms. Statistics can be its own animal and have its own language and everything. But if you never have access to the terms, then jumping into chapter 3, which is what a lot of instructors do, they just jump into chapter 3 because that's where real calculations start. It kind of leaves you at a disadvantage. So chapters 1 and chapters 2, I really believe are beneficial to your foundation of the whole class. But like I said, just me writing down words and you copying words sets us up for a time of rest in the middle of class. So I'd rather not do that. And I think it would be best that you guys don't have to go through that when you can just do this on your own time. And look at these words. Like I said, the first one is statistics, and they're all in order. And I see somebody in the chat, I'm gonna get you in a second. Variation, data, all of them are in order and bolded. So if you get to a point where you miss a word, that means you need to go back and see where you may have skipped the word. Oh yeah, no problem, not a problem. All right, so once again, it's not a hard assignment. It's just really you going in there and getting familiar with these terms. And then your homework, if you were to go back to your assignments. Let's go to 1.1. See that a lot of times they're not long. Some of them are longer than others. This is only 3 questions. And then, so here they're just filling the blank. Data are more than numbers because they have, that. This one, once again, I don't know if you saw in the first page, you saw these little circles. So that's what it's talking about. And then study statistics and what, these are things that you're going to come across as you go throughout those definitions. And so, like I said, it wasn't made to be hard, but just to familiarize you guys with the terms. And then, and it's an easy 100%. All you gotta do is just knock it out. I'll go to due date before we leave. But any questions on what I said up to this point? I'm gonna tell you about due date for those definitions, just so we can get them done, get them knocked out of the way. But any questions on what I said up to this point?
So with the definitions, can we like type it up on our computer, take a picture of that and send it to you?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
Trying to find a good problem just to do this, show you how MathLab works. That one has. Okay, that's fine. Okay, just trying to find one that I can get wrong real quick. So if you get into Math Lab, once you start doing stuff that calls for calculation, um, just putting in anything. You know, put in answer. If you hit check the answer, they try to give you a hint. Check the answer again, try to give you the same hint. And then notice it says final check here. They try to give you, most of the time they give you 3 chances to get the answer correct. Unless it's something like a true or false question or something fill in the blank, it may only give you 1 shot. That's because it would unlimited on tries. All you can do is hit similar exercise and you'll be able to get it again. So final check, got it wrong. And then just hitting that. So notice it says similar question or next question. So you can hit either one of those. If I hit similar question, it'll reset the problem. I'm gonna close this out real quick though. Now let's say if you didn't hit similar question there, and this is where sometimes people miss it, similar question will be right here. And all you gotta do is hit it and that will reset the problem. Same problem, just different numbers. So it's just really about getting the process down pat and then reinforcing it with the numbers. All right. Now you have help tools down here. Help me solve this is what people normally click when they're done with this problem. Like they just can't figure it out. Because once you walk through the problem, then it will reset the problem for you to do it again. Okay, they will not allow you to count that as you doing it right. Let's see some of this on chat. No, you don't have to purchase the book. No, but you do need to purchase access to Math Lab. So yep, you do not have to purchase the book at all. All right. So now if you didn't want to do help me solve this, but you still want to know how to solve it, you can do view an example. And then that will pull out a problem that's very similar to it. And then you can walk through the steps. And then when you're done, you can close this out and then get to work on the problem you're dealing with. Some people even print this out. So I allow the printing to be an option. Then you can go in there and just do work. Other options, StatCrunch is just Pearson's version of Excel. Learn how to use it or not is up to you. You don't really have to. There are also times where, depending on the complexity of the problem, you could have an extra video here of my Math Lab person talking about the problem. If it's something that has a place, they'll have a spot in the text. It'll say, I'm gonna look for it real quick so I can show you. It'll say textbook, and you can click to that and it'll send you to the textbook where it is. Or ask my instructor. When you click that, it'll send me an email about this problem, that you had an issue with this problem. Now, sometimes there have been issues where I've had students say they did ask my instructor and I didn't get it. So now it is possible that it could have been a user error, or it's possible technology didn't interface well. You know, tech happen like that sometimes. Most of the time I get those, but if by some chance you do ask my instructor and I don't respond, all you do is send me another email the conventional way, and then I'll respond, you know, or just ask me during class. Let me see, trying to find one where say get more help. And so these problems may not involve that, they may not be as complex, but let me see if I can find just to show you the options. Nope. Nope. So while I find this, just to show you what I'm mentioning, anybody have any questions? Trying this one more time. All right, there we go. So there's another problem out of another section. So when I was talking about here, so notice it says video. So sometimes, depending on the complexity of the problem, there will be a video of somebody else helping out with the problem, or talking about the problem. Then StatCrunch and Tech Help is just asking for help through Pearson. All right, so for our test, are we allowed to use notes? Yes, yes, you will be able to use your notes. It's not a problem. Not a problem at all. All right, so questions on Math Lab before we go to the next thing. Anybody? All right. So this is how we will be going through our notes. You see I'm writing and talking, so it's live. Um, you know, yeah, the same experience that you get in the classroom is what we're going to experience here. It's just that you're in your room and I'm in my room. If you select show similar problem, do you get credit for that? Now it just depends on which one you click on. Now, if you click on view an example, if you do view an example, then that one you will get credit for. If you do help me solve this, then you won't get credit for that one. So help me solve this actually solves the problem that you're dealing with. View an example pulls up another example that's very similar to the problem. You can walk through that one, and then when you close it out, you can go back to the problem you're working with. All right. Hopefully that was all right. Nope, I forgot to mention that. Thank you for saying that. So let me go back. So what's going to happen is, so let me find the easy one to just get wrong. So notice how this was just like more of a definition problem. Notice how it says final check. So you only get one shot because you remember you get unlimited amount of tries anyway. So now this one gave me 2 shots. Oh, one gave me 1 shot. This one gave me 2. All right, so I got that one right. So if you get it wrong, you have a red X. If you get it right, you have a green check. So now if you get the whole thing wrong, you just have a red X by it. If you get the whole thing right, you'll just have a green check. But if you get it partial, like I did here, you got a green check / red X. Now, once you do the problem over, let's say you get all the way right, then that will turn to a green check. And then you get full credit. All right, so it'll be all in your symbolisms. Nothing beside it means I haven't attempted or haven't submitted an answer. But yeah, it'll be all in your symbolism. Like I said, once you get it all right, it will turn to a full green check. All right. Anything else? Anything else? So you can always turn that 0% to full credit. All right. So let's go back here. So for your definitions, so you can try. Yeah, you have unlimited amount of tries to get the best grade possible in your homework. Yeah, that's what I told my last class. So definitions, I feel like, a week, next Monday, shoot it to me an email. Now, I just was reminded about Memorial Day. By some chance you out partying, military ball, something, I don't know. Hey, you can't get it done, just always feel free to shoot me that email. It's not a big deal. We'll always be able to work something out. But we'll just throw that date there. That's next Monday. Shoot those definitions to me in an email at some point, and so we can go ahead and get that done and get it out of the way. Because once we start rolling, you don't want to be still sitting in chapter 1 and chapter 2 stuff. And so let me see what I have it up here. I got it on the next page. So questions about that before we go to the next page. Make sure we're good.
Are you trying to tell me there's a military ball coming up? Because you can't throw it on me like that.
I'm sorry.
I gotta know like 2 weeks ahead. Okay, I can't do the last minute.
Sorry, that was just me throwing stuff out. I just know people do stuff. So, oh man.
If there's another military ball, I'm going to cry. I'm just letting you know.
Oh man,
I'll be gone for a whole day, just in bed crying. It's fine.
So you've had your fair share of military balls, is what you're telling me.
I'm a military child, and I'm also dating somebody that's in the Navy. So
well, awesome. Well, yeah. Thank your family and your boyfriend for their service. I appreciate this.
It's fun. So.
Oh man, I didn't mean to hit a nerve by throwing out military ball.
No, it's just they always like. I remember my dad and my boyfriend does the same thing too. They'd last minute. Oh, hey, by the way, there's a military ball tonight. You got to be ready in like 2 hours. And I'm like, I hope your chief don't care that I'm going with my hair up in a bun. So I'm gonna look a hot mess and gonna make you look bad because you didn't let me know ahead of time. So thank you.
Right. Oh man. Never know when you just say something and it hit a nerve. But yeah, cool. So before we go any further, I'm going to do just talk about a few things out of chapter 2 that people have had. Just questions about just a couple of things, nothing major. But chapter 1 and chapter 2, there will not be a lecture on them. Your lecture is coming from those definitions. Okay, so real lecture doesn't really get started until we get into chapter 3, which will be next class. Next class, we'll probably do just 2 sections, just 2 light sections, mean, mode, and median type stuff. Wherein, they're light enough wherein we can say we made some progress, but at the same time, it's not interfering with the stuff you're trying to get done for chapters 1 and chapters 2. And then, we'll go from there. So before we look at these distribution of data and stuff like that, any questions? Everybody okay? And let me look at my list. I think I got everything. Oh, I did say I'm gonna send you guys old lectures. Office hours, I'll be sending that to you guys as well. We'll be having office hours. I just haven't sent out that email. Let's see. We talked about due dates. All right, I think we're good on my end. Anybody else before we do these things? Everybody good? Somebody sees something in the chat. Oh, no, nothing is due today or tomorrow. No, you're fine. You're fine. All right, I can show you the definitions before we leave. So just don't let me forget. I'll show you where they're located. All right, so let's look at this real quick, and then I'll let you guys go and get started. So your assignment, once we let out today, is to get into Math Lab if you haven't. Make sure you don't have any issues with registration, seeing Math Lab, all the stuff like that. Get your definitions, get into those definitions, and chapter 1, chapter 2 work. And then by next class, if you have any issues, we can talk about them. Make sure you're clean going forward. So distribution of data shapes. So the first one is your bell-shaped curve. It's symmetric about the mean. Your mean is in the middle. So that means that you have 50% of your data to the right of your mean, 50% of your data to the left of your mean. And it reflects about your mean. What's going on the right is going on the left as well. And so notice I have a note here. Remember this one, because this is the one that's going to be one that's going to be continually be emphasized as we move throughout the rest of the course. Your bell-shaped curve, which is also called your normal distribution. That term is going to be coming up a lot, normal distribution. All right, any questions? Or can I scroll up a little? No. All right, so the next one is uniform distribution. So basically that one just has the same level of distribution. Notice it's more like in a block form, same level of distribution when it comes to how your data is distributed. All right, is everybody finished with that first one? All right, so the next two, the third and fourth type of distribution is the real reason why, I lay out these distributions, and you should see them in your definitions as well, talking about, your distributions being skewed left versus skewed right. So, for my thought process, whenever I hear skewed left in my mind, it almost seems like you're saying your data is pushed to the left. But in actuality, it's the opposite. If your data is skewed left, that means the tail of your data is to the left, and that means the bulk of your data is pushed to the right. Let me see. Yep, I'll go back. All right. So when it's skewed left, that means the data of your information, the tail of your information is to the left, and the bulk of your data is pushed to the right. All right, so that's what it means to be skewed left. The tail is to the left.
Okay, so I'm doing my Zoom on my phone because my laptop doesn't like Zoom for some reason.
Mhm.
Do you care if we screenshot?
Oh, no, no, I
Okay.
don't
I know
care at
I
all.
had one professor that was like, no, you can't screenshot because my face is in it. No, so his ass.
Yeah, I'm fine. I don't think anything's gonna happen to me. Nobody's looking for me, so I should be good. So is everybody done with 3? Before I scroll up, I know one of your classmates wanted me to scroll back to number 1. All right, so here's 1. All right. Anybody still holding on to 1? Okay, so let's go to 4. 4 is being skewed right. And so if skewed left means that the tail of your data to the left, and skewed right means the tail of your data is to the right. And that means the bulk of your data is actually to the left. All right, sorry, I had a student that was reaching out. All right, can I scroll up? Anybody holding on to it? All right, so one more thing that caused some, not necessarily issues, but questions to come up is the stem leaf plot. So your leaf is going to be the rightmost digit of a data value. And then your stem is going to be all of the values that precede that rightmost digit. So if I have the number 53, 3 is going to be the leaf, and then 5 will be the stem. If I have 127, 7 will be the leaf, and then 12, 1, 2 would be the stem. So everything that precedes that rightmost digit will be your stem, and then that rightmost digit will be your leaf. All right. So same thing here. If I had 1,234, the 4 would be your leaf, and then 1, 2, 3 would actually be the stem. Everybody holding on to the leaf. All right, so we have a data set here. We got 41, 50, 56, 71, 72, 72, 75, 80, 80, 82, 83, 84, 88, 88, 89, 91, 92, 93, 100, 101, 101, and 112. This is how you would create a stem leaf plot. So when you're doing your work in math lab, you have to generate a stem leaf plot. This is the process. All right. So the first thing you want to do is establish your minimum and maximum values. So keep in mind that your data set not always going to be listed from least to greatest or listed in order. I went ahead and did that for board purposes, but you always want to try to find you always want to go ahead and find your smallest value and your maximum value when you're trying to establish your stem leaf plot. And so we notice that our smallest value is 41, largest value is 112. So see our green statement says that the data set goes from the 40s to the 110s. So we got 41 to 112. Any problems so far? And of course, they would give you, oh, my eraser was on. Okay. Of course, they would give you, the data set. They would give you that data set. So there's nothing you would have to find. All right, you say you're confused. What's up? Guess I'm waiting for the response in the chat. Because right, you say you're confused. Right now, we're talking about how do you do a stem leaf plot. Okay, well, we're talking about how to do a stem leaf plot. And so first thing we established, what is a leaf, what is a stem? And so that's where this came into play. Your leaf is your rightmost digit, your stem is everything that comes before that digit. So I gave two examples here, 53 and 127, wherein 3 is your leaf, 5 is your stem. If you have 127, 7 is your leaf, and then 1 and 2, the 12 is your stem. And so you have this data set, and we're about to create the stem leaf plot with the data set that we have here. Does that bring clarity? I don't know. Let me know, in the chat. I know you talking through the chat, so let me know. And so we established what our smallest and largest values are.
The data sets aren't going to be in order like that, will we? Will they?
Not
You'll have
necessarily.
to put them in order.
Maybe, sometimes they'll give them to you in order, sometimes they won't. So yep, it just depends on what they decide to do. So don't worry, we'll be able to rewatch the recording. Yep. Most definitely, I will be sending this recording out. Now I'm going to erase this so we can walk through it. All right, so it goes from the 40s to the 110s. 41 was the smallest value, 112 was the largest value, so that's where we got that from. And now you're going to write down each leaf for each stem that you see. So for the 40s, all we had was 41. For the 50s, we had 50 and 56. So for every leaf you have, you do have to represent that as for one of your data values. Then notice there is no 60 value. There are no 60s. So you would not write 0 here because that would represent the number 60. You would just leave it blank. And then we have 71. Let me do this, make it a little smaller. We have 71, 72 twice, 75. Then we have, oh, I put it down. Sorry about that. I wrote it with a 6. It's 1, 2, 2, and 5. Then we have 80 twice, 82, 83, 84, 88, 88, 89, 91, 92, 93, 100, 101, 101, and then 112. All right, questions on what we did there? All right. Everybody good? Everybody straight? All right. So this is just another way to represent your data values, represent your data set. You easily, if you wanted to, have done this as a bar graph. If you wanted to do bar graph. So, but it depends on the audience. So you may ask yourself, well, why would you use something like this? It depends on your audience and who you're trying to appeal to. If you're trying to appeal to people who, when you know your audience, if it's an audience that like numbers. So maybe something like this would be more appealing to somebody who's less, who's more like visual and like to see colors and graphs and pictures and stuff. Then you would use the bar graph, which it still could represent the same data set. And that's what this does for us. When it comes to statistics, I know you heard the saying that numbers never lie, but the other part of that is what they can mislead. And so statistics is just the art of, presenting your information in such a way that people would flow with your argument or whatever it is you're trying to present. whether it's political, they can have some statistics out there, but if you got the right statistician, they can make those same numbers say the complete opposite. So really, if you know what you're doing and knowing how to manipulate numbers. So that's what statistics really is kind of all about. When plotting this, do you go from stem to leaf or leaf to stem? Not sure what you mean by that when plotting this, because like as far as stem leaf, this is it. So are you talking about doing something extra after this? So I'll look for your response. Because notice what we did as far as doing this, what we did was we put down all of the stems first from 40 to 110. Remember I said we went from the 40 to 110, and then we put down each leaf according to the stems. So okay, cool. Yep. So the first thing we did was establish what our stems were, and then we put down each leaf. Yep. All right. Any other questions about the stem leaf plot before we go to the last thing that we're going to mention today? All right. So as far as chapter 1 and chapter 2, those were the main things that people had brought questions on. That doesn't mean you may not have a question. So just remember, every day is an opportunity for questions. When it comes to our lectures on a regular day, I don't lecture the whole class period. Normally I lecture to a certain point, and then from there, we break off. In other words, there will be people who are done for the day, brain fried, or whatever the case may be, or they just don't want any more math in their life for the day. And they will be free to go. I don't like to do, what I say, hold somebody hostage. If they're ready to go, then they'll be able to go because the lecture is done. But for those who need to stay back and ask questions, then there will be opportunity for you to ask questions on a class period. Depending on the nature of what's going on, if it's a review day, you'll be able to ask questions just off the jump. So it just depends on the nature of what's going on. You may be able to ask questions in the beginning, but most of the time I save them for the end so that if people, like I said, are done with the lecture, they can go ahead or they have something to do, they can go ahead, and then anybody who has questions can stay back. So that's normally the flow of class. So when we look at what we got going on, what we've already mentioned today, we have these chapter 1, chapter 2 definitions. Remember we said the date that we're looking at is next Monday to be done by. Shoot them to me in an email. Like I said, whether you write them all out, take a picture of what you wrote them on, or if you type them out in a Word document, send it to me in a Word document, that's fine. Either way, I'll send you a response saying I got them, and then I'll put your grade in Math Lab. Then you have Math Lab homework for chapters 1 and chapters 2. And then you have that test 1, which is based on chapter 1 and chapter 2. So at this moment, this is what you're held responsible for. Now, this Math Lab stuff is not due May 30th. Remember, that due date is 8/5, Remember, anything that's in Math Lab, that due date will be 8/5. But these definitions, we want to go ahead and knock those out and get those done by Monday.
So do we have definitions for every chapter, or is it just 1, 2, and 7?
Just 1, 2, and 7.
Okay, could we go ahead and do 7 just to knock it out of the way so we don't forget about it and forget how to get to them?
No, I don't want that. But yeah, sure, that's fine.
Well, I'm saying, like, we don't have to send it in necessarily, but just get it done, because I'm going to forget how to get to the e-text. I guarantee it.
No, you can send it to me. That's fine. I was just messing with you. That's not a problem at all. Say again?
Yeah, you said it was a test on chapters 1 and 2. Is that test just going to be on definitions?
Yep, everything that chapter 1, chapter 2 is about. There's a test review that you can click on that pretty much guides you on what chapter 1's test is. Yep.
All right, thank you.
Not a problem. Maybe a few charts in there, like pie chart, bar graph, stuff like that to read. But
and you said we can use like our notes for the test.
Yep. There's no way for me to gauge that, and you know what I mean. I'm not sitting at home with you guys like that. So yeah, no worries. You just go ahead and use them at your leisure and get the best grade possible. Yep. All right. Anything else? Anybody else? Everybody good? Straight? All right. So, like I mentioned before, these are the things that we're held responsible for at this moment: chapters 1, chapters 2, definitions, and Math Lab work, and then eventually get to that test. And like I said, make good use of your time, because remember, we only have 10 weeks, but it's a 16-week course. So we're going to be, moving shortly. I'll try to make sure we pace it out a little bit, but we do want to make sure that we get to the content that we are responsible for. So if you guys are good, I'm good. I will see you guys next class, and we'll get into probably just sections 3.1 and 3.2. Like I said, the light work, mean, mode, and median type stuff like that, doing the averages. And so shouldn't be too bad. All right. So if you guys are good, I'm good. Have a good one. Be safe, and I will see you on Wednesday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have a good one. Thank you. Take care. Okay.